better it does. Welcome everyone to PIM, Partners in Marriage. I'm your host, John Godbolt with
Vertel Godbolt.
And we are partners in marriage, and we certainly are glad that you decided to join us again for this incredible opportunity. I'm so excited this time, always excited to be with you and talk with you about some of the things in marriage and little podcasts and different things that we're doing. But for the next 4 sessions, I got some of my favorite people on board this time. I'll tell you more about it in just a moment. But we always want to remind you that if you need some information about marriage, some ideas, some thoughts, and even counseling, or you want to think about it before you get married, get some counseling. I think that's a good idea. Go to our website at partnersinmarriage.com. You can find us there. We can set up some time with you. And if not that, maybe you want a workshop. We do workshops and trainings, you name it. We like doing all those things with our friends. And it's been great, even through COVID and on through several different situations. We've done a lot of, just finished one the other week and almost had one I didn't know about to come up on me. But anyway, it was good, and we want you to go to our website at, again, partnersinmarriage.com. Now, what do you think about these folks we got on board with us today? What do you think about them first?
Yes, they are my favorite people as well.
Well, the people we're talking about are our own children who are grown, married, on their own with children. So we're going to spend some time talking with them in our next 4 sessions. Let me introduce them. The first and our oldest will be Terrence, Dr. Terrence McAllister. Our daughter, Jocelyn McAllister. They've been married, will be married 30 years this coming June. Okay, so give them a round of applause for 30 years this coming June. And then coming in and right behind them, Royville and Crystal Godbolt, our couple. He is our youngest of the two, married Miss Gorgeous, Miss Personality herself. They will be married 17 years this coming December.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So we're going to be talking about marriage, but some specific things. And this session is going to be about being intentional. Now, I know that when we start talking about things like this, people say, well, what does that mean? It means just what it says, being intentional. And what have you learned about in life in general? Just, okay, it's going to happen. Just don't worry about it. And what did that leave? What kind of taste did that leave in your mouth when you didn't do what you should have done?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll go first. When you say being intentional, I think it means put some thought behind it. Don't just go through the motions. Think about how it affects me, how it will affect our relationship. And so I try to be. That is actually the word that I used for 2025. I want to have intention behind what I do in life and not just go through the motions, but really think and process what it is that I'm going to do. So that would be my definition of being intentional.
And I would like to add on what Jocelyn was saying, doing things on purpose, taking your time to slow down because the world we live in is so fast anyway. So taking your time and actually doing things on purpose. Like with Royville and I, we kiss 4 times every time we see each other or when we leave. And it can become like, what's the word I'm looking
Routine.
for? Routine.
Okay.
It can become so routine, it's just like, and then you're gone. But I thought about it like, we need to take our time because he's leaving. So as I kiss him, I might think one for me. Now this is one for, I'm praying that the Father covers you, the Holy Spirit guides you. Just thinking and being intentional and slowing that thing down, you know.
Be careful now.
Be
careful.
It turns from a fast everyday life,
Okay.
goodbye, salute, to on purpose, I'm intentionally loving on you. So that's what I think intentional.
Now, we do 3. We do 1, 2, 3 for I love you. That's our 1, 2, 3. We thought you all were doing 3, so we actually copied it from you.
We were,
Okay.
and it changed
to 4.
to 4.
So now we're going to stay with 3. We
Stay with your 3.
I love you 3. Okay, you keep going.
Yes.
You know, I want to get out of the house. But let me talk to the guys. Guys, because you are men and you have so much on your mind. We're not going to get too in deep in that because that's going to be one of our sessions about prioritizing marriage. But this one, when we talk about being intentional, how are you intentional with your relationship with your wife?
So that's a everyday learning process.
Okay.
For me, for the past 30 years, I think it's a lot of it is dependent upon the vibe or the energy that may be present at the particular time, based on what your conversation may be, based on what's going on during the day. So, for instance, if Jocelyn comes in the house and I know she's being stressed because of her job, so I try to be, when I'm intentional, I try to be intentional and do some things that I know that she's going to recognize or she may be appreciative of. For instance, yesterday, my intent, because I knew she had a hard day, I was trying to be intentional with her gas. I typically don't let her pump gas, and so I told her to come home and that I'd go out and put her gas in her car for her. So my intention was to do that, to take one thing away from her that she didn't have to worry about because she had a stressful day at work. She deals with a lot of small children. I would have a stressful day every day if I had to deal with small children. So I try to be intentional in that regard, just based on the mood and based on the situation or circumstances happening during that day.
Yeah.
What's transpired for her during that day, and try to identify something that I can be intentional about to kind of help support her. So she knows if I go in the kitchen and cook, that I'm being very intentional because I don't cook. I don't do the cooking thing anymore.
Okay.
So that's just something that we have
Right.
established in our marriage, and that's not a knock. I can cook, but she has so gracefully decided to do that for us, and I have not have to worry about that.
Right. And so just to piggyback off of that, I was going to say that something similar to that is where I know what Crystal likes, and one of those things is like having a clean house and not feeling like she's doing all the heavy lifting. And the boys and I can be very walk past things, and it's there and you don't do anything about it.
Okay.
Not so much Ayana. I mean, she'll clean up at the drop of a hat, but we all can let things pile up, and that's something that really aggravates her, because she likes to clean up. She likes things to be clean, especially if we're gonna have people over. You know what I mean? And we don't want people in the house if the house isn't clean. And so me being intentional is making sure the dishes are washed, making sure that the grass is cut outside, making sure that I blow it off, because I cut the grass. If I don't blow it, then she'll be fussing. But that's a part of it. It's like getting a haircut, not getting a line. So just the love language piece. For her is sometimes it's acts of service, and so me knowing that, I try to make sure that I'm intentional about even if it's not me, if it's me delegating to the boys or Ayana, y'all make sure that Mama don't like coming home and seeing foolishness, and I don't either. I want the trash to be taken out when I'm home, and the boys know I get on them. I want to make sure that their room is not having 1,000 cups stacked up in there, those things, stuff that really aggravates her. And so it's my job as the husband to make sure the boys know how they're supposed to operate, so when they get their own, they'll know what to do. So that is a work in progress, let me say it that way. We don't always get it right, and sometimes we get mama's wrath, but most of the time, that's for her, that's a big thing. Yeah. And if that's right, and then she can relax, and it works out for everyone.
I think one thing that couples may fail to do, you can be intentional with your communication.
Yeah.
And so if you're intentional with your communication, you have to know your spouse in order to know how to frame a question and or frame a response. And so if you're not intentional, and if you're not purposeful in thinking about that while you're having that conversation, then you may frame the question and or response the inappropriate way. And like Ravel said, get the wrath of mama. So I think that should be at the forefront of our minds as married couples, that you frame your questions, your concerns, your responses when you're communicating, because without the communication aspect of a marriage, then you're not going to get to the other facets of what a marriage is all about if you don't have sound communication processes in place in order to be intentional when you're doing that.
You know, our time is already gone, but we should look at one day just writing out the kinds of questioning and put them on the website so people know how to frame. So here's an example of how to do that. Sweet, you want to say something before we close this session now?
Well, I agree with everybody that you definitely have to be intentional. And I think Terrence said at the very beginning that you have to know your spouse and what makes them tick. You know, because the same thing doesn't make everybody feel
Right.
the same.
Yeah.
So I know this man after 50, almost 52 years, and I know what he likes and what he doesn't. And so I try to be as intentional as I can to make him happy.
Okay, with that, we'll say thank you so much for the first session. We'll be back real soon with something else. And remember, marriage is not a destination, it is a journey of love.